Oh, thank you for joining me for this update on the April 2020 Kingston housing market. I hope that you and everyone that you care about is safe and well. I'm recording this on Sunday, May 10th, so wishing all the moms out there a happy Mother's Day. So the sky is not falling. One thing we've learned over the past few weeks is that the media loves a crisis, and I'm sure that you read doom and gloom headlines about real estate markets dropping by over 60%. Smart readers know to dig beyond headlines. Yes, the volume of units sold has dropped over 60% in many markets, but that means that there are still active buyers and sellers. What most of us want to know is, how has this crisis affected the value of my home? The good news is that the Kingston residential real estate market has held strong. Leading experts remind us that unlike 2008, this is a health crisis and not a housing crisis. They may disagree on the shape of recovery, whether it's going to be quick and V-shaped or longer and U-shaped, but most agree that the housing market is going to come back quickly after people are back to work. In a recent survey by Point Two Homes, 80% of Canadian realtors surveyed said that they believe the market will be back to normal in 12 months, and 51% of those realtors believe that that recovery is going to happen in 6 months. So let's take a look at what's happening in the over the past 3 years. Kingston has been a seller's market, and I'm sure you've heard about homes selling quickly, very close or above asking price, and multiple offers are common. Not surprisingly, 2020 started very strong. Average prices were growing 11.8% in the first quarter, and on average, homes were selling for 98.8% of asking price. Even though things slowed after the 13th, you can see that March numbers were still strong as offers written earlier were firming up. It's kind of like that big ball in Indiana Jones, that it's rolling, and so the market was still busy for a couple of weeks after the shutdown. In April, a different story. Not surprisingly, the market slowed significantly in April as we focused only on essential buyers and sellers. Based on units sold, the market dropped to 40% of 2019 levels. One thing that's important to note is that a home is considered sold when all conditions have been fulfilled. And because our lenders and lawyers are working from home, those condition periods are taking a bit longer in some circumstances. The good news is that average home prices increased 5.8% over 2019, and median prices increased 10.4%. The difference in that is a shift in the market mix, and it really shifted toward detached homes, which are generally higher in price. In addition, luxury home buyers, they're the most insulated from economic pressures that we felt over the last few weeks. So that has shifted the median price point a bit higher. Even with longer condition periods, average days on market has been reduced by 1 day. And this really shows that the market's been mainly focused on qualified, motivated buyers and sellers. Let's look at the April results by housing type, and don't be alarmed by negative numbers. There are good reasons for these results, and it's important to understand them. So the good news is that the average selling price for detached homes has grown by 9.1%. And with 134 sales, this was the most active segment of the housing market. Detached homes made up 76% of total units sold, and last year it was only 73%. So we've had a swing toward detached homes and away from semis, townhouses, and apartments. And there's reasons for that. Semis, townhouses, and apartments tend to be where first-time buyers get in the market. And sadly, first-time buyers were a segment that were hit hard by some of the job losses and economic uncertainty over the last few weeks. So we've seen a drop in the average selling prices, primarily because of the mix of semis and townhouses that were selling on the market tended to be the lower priced ones. What I'll draw your attention to is that the median prices grew. So that means from the lowest to the highest price in the middle, that price grew. So that tells us that we still have a healthy market when things come back. With condo managers and boards reducing or eliminating in-person showings, it's not surprising that apartment sales have slowed. Average and median price both fell by 18%. So what that tells us is that the units that did sell, and there were only 7 in April, that those units were really lower priced units. If you're interested in the value of your home, it's important to understand that these are stats, and stats are averages and medians and things like that. The value of a home is really based on the condition of the home, the location of the home, any upgrades you've made. So if you're curious about the current value of your home, contact me, and I'll be happy to share a detailed market investment for your property. No obligation. So weekly activity. So as the market slowed, you can really see that numbers were quite low in the last 6 weeks. The lowest point was the week of April 9th. Important to remember, though, that that was Easter weekend, so could have been slower because of that. Since April 16th, we're starting to see an increase. So you can see that new listings increased after April 16th. And in this past week, they've almost doubled the prior week. Sold listings, it will take a little bit of time for those to catch up because, it takes 10 days to 2 weeks for those conditions to clear. And a listing is only marked as sold when the conditions have cleared on it. This data is consistent across the country and across North America. Showing Time, which reports 250 MLSs, is telling us that there was definitely an uptick in showings in April. So you may be wondering what you can do now. So the first thing that you want to do is continue to follow the direction of government and public health agencies, as I'm doing, and stay safe and well. Many of you have been doing a lot of research online, looking at homes that are listed, taking advantage of the virtual open houses and the virtual tours. Continue to do that. It's a really good source of information and helps to educate you on the market and what homes are selling for. Now is a good time to connect with a lender. If your financial situation has changed at all since before the shutdown, call your banker, your mortgage broker, and talk about your financial situation. Get that pre-approval for mortgage so that when the market comes back, you're ready to make an offer. And finally, connecting with a realtor. I've talked to a number of buyers recently that thought they were too early to talk to a realtor because they don't want to buy for 6 months to a year. But I don't think it's ever too early to connect. If you're a seller, we can talk about your property, the value of it, talk about things that you could be doing to get ready for when the market comes back. If you're a buyer, we can walk through that process of getting your financial approval and start seeing some homes safely and with social distance and physical distance. I sincerely hope that this has been helpful to you, and I hope that our community continues to be safe and healthy. Is now the time to buy or sell a home? Well, honestly, that depends. Let's chat about your goals, and together we can put together a plan that meets your needs.